Welcome to the Imperial Grandstand. I'm Alan Imperial,
I'm Carlos Del Rosario.
and on today's episode, we're going to be talking about Groot.
I am Groot.
I am Groot.
Ah, yes, a magnificent character. Wow,
Yeah.
just beloved.
Ah, man, Vin Diesel just brought it. We made it. He made us fall in love with 3 words. Beautiful
Yeah,
man.
yes.
Look at him.
Some would say 5 words.
Aw. Aw.
Anyway, we're here to discuss Groot in D&D. Now,
Yeah.
we're not trying to give you the perfect build with all the perfect stats, just thoughts on Groot's abilities and how it relates to D&D.
Yeah, and we're primarily going to be focusing on Guardians of the Galaxy, Groot. We might be talking about him in other movies where he's like an adolescent or baby Groot, but for the most part, it's going to be from as like his like big build when we
Yeah.
first meet him.
Yeah, because he Groot in Volume 1, he's the big guy, and then it's like the DM just give me your character sheet. I'm gonna rip this up, start a new character. That's Baby Groot, and you see the progression of that Groot in the Avengers films, and it's very hard to quantify his abilities when you're just when you're bouncing back and forth. So primarily, it's going to be Groot from the original Guardians, but there are some transferable skills that he has in Avengers Endgame and in Infinity War. So that's something to think about there.
Yeah, and and clearly he's a big guy. He can't even fit on screen.
Yeah.
Look at him. So
All
that's the
right.
Groot we're going to be focusing on mostly.
Absolutely. So let's start with stats. Now, his strength is obviously high.
Yeah, he mostly hits with his limbs,
Yeah.
unarmed
So,
strikes.
yes, of course, his strength is high. His dex, I say, would be low. Yeah.
Yeah, he's kind of a lumbering guy
Yeah, he
in
doesn't
the first
really
one.
do anything, dexterity. He doesn't really, throw with precision or yeah,
Yeah,
no.
and he's not fast.
Yeah, and he's not that
So
fast. Yeah.
it's like, yeah, he could get around, but
Yeah. Yeah, I remember he ran from the collector's exploding building, but it's like I don't know. I don't know if that's fast. It was shot in slow-mo, so I wouldn't know.
moving on.
So
For his constitution,
yes.
I definitely think that's probably his highest or one of his highest stats.
Yes, he gets shot, he gets stabbed, he gets sliced. He's fine.
Gamora chops off his arm.
But constitutionally wise, he's okay. Intelligence, I hate to say it, low. That's he has a very low intelligence.
Yeah, he's enamored by pretty lights.
In the collector's collection.
Yeah, when they were learning about all the gems and all the old gods.
Yeah. He,
Like,
he's
ooh.
he's drinking fountain water.
Ugh. Don't drink fountain water, you idiot. That's disgusting.
Yes, you did. I just saw you doing it. Why are you lying?
And it's just I mean, no.
What's
Uh,
wrong with you?
But here's where I will say that his wisdom is actually pretty high.
Yeah, he has good insight with everybody.
Yeah, like Rocket, he does know what's going on. And yeah, he's I think he's the only one that could really reach Rocket when he's in a state.
I am Groot.
Save them? How?
I am Groot.
So That's
Yeah,
yeah, something to think about.
yeah. He's also has a great medicine knowledge.
Yeah,
He saves
he
Drax,
saves Drax.
as we talked about before.
He does the
I'm gonna
pointy
put it up
thing, and
there.
then he does the thing. So yeah, that's a good one. I like that. Charisma. I would say low. Low. He has low charisma.
I would say it's okay-ish,
Hmm.
just because he gets on Peter's side, or he's on Peter's side during the group talk about having a 12% of a plan.
Yeah.
And Groot's like,
At least it's
I
not
am Groot.
11%.
Right.
Yeah. All right, you got me there. Yeah.
So I'd say it's okay. Maybe not low.
Yeah.
It's not a bard.
I am Groot.
So what? It's better than 11%. What the hell does that have to do with anything?
Thank you, Groot. Thank you. See? Groot's the only one of you who has a clue.
Yeah, and yeah, with that said, he does persuade Rocket when they're on nowhere and he starts kicking grass. So.
Yeah.
God, you're making me beat up grass.
Yeah. All right. Yeah,
Yeah,
I'll give you that.
So
yeah.
I'd say he has like a 10 or a 0. So,
Yeah. As for his race, again, like in other places, we're not doing any homebrew, no unearthed arcana. This is, straight up canon, quote unquote, D&D.
sorry.
Yeah, I would love to make him a tree ant or an ent or whatever woodland creature he could be, but yeah, I would say, given his skills and the current set that we have, he would be a Goliath.
Yeah. He gets a +2 in strength and a +1 in constitution. So
Perfect.
already his high that stats that we said were already high just get better.
Yes.
And he's huge.
He's huge.
I mean, look at him.
Well, yeah, he's Goliaths are between 7 and 8 feet tall, which makes sense for Groot. But his size is still medium. He doesn't take up more than 5 feet in the squares. So yeah, that kind of makes sense. Sure.
Yeah, when he does the thing that we're going to talk about later, and he does the cocoon, it's like, yeah, that fits in a 5x5.
Yeah. You have proficiency in athletics. You can. You also have stones endurance. You can focus yourself to occasionally shrug off injury. When you take damage, you can use your reaction to roll a d20. Add your Constitution modifier to the number rolled and reduce the damage by that total. After you use that trait, you can't use it again until you finish a short or long rest. So that makes sense. Just gives them even more Constitution to take damage.
Yeah, and we see him just tank a lot, so makes sense to me.
And
He also has this thing, powerful build. You count as one size larger when determining your carrying capacity and the weight you can push, drag, or lift. And you see him all the time, just kind of being not the pack mule that Drax is, but more along the lines of just shoving like 4 or 5 guys across the room.
yeah, he probably powerful build does enter into that, I suppose. Sure, with his long vines.
Yeah.
Some good synergy there. Now, we were agonizing over the class of Groot, just trying to find the perfect build, and
Yeah.
it's like,
Our instincts were just to go druid, and the more we delved into druid, the more we realized he's more of a low-level druid.
yeah,
Because,
yeah. We'll explain, but
he does more things as something else that really surprised me.
yes. So here we go. We're gonna start off with Druid for now,
Yeah.
and
Yeah, I'd say his first few levels, maybe his first 3 or 4, are going to be druid.
yeah.
Uh,
He doesn't use. We know that Groot only does like unarmed strikes
Hmm.
and maybe some magic.
So he's
He
good for simple weapons. He has a wooden shield
he has a wooden
when he
shield
does the
which
thing in
when he
the.
does that, yeah. I just noticed that the skills that he would be proficient in would be animal handling and medicine, which kind of makes sense actually with his character.
Yeah, he's great with Rocket, and
Yes.
he saves Track's life. So it's like,
Yeah.
yeah,
With a language, he obviously speaks Groot. Um,
he
but
understands common.
he understands Common. He doesn't speak Common, but he understands it. And eventually, I guess, if you're around him enough, you will understand Groot as well.
Yeah. He could
Yeah.
also read common if he's playing defender.
Oh yes, yes, yes. Um, so the heart and soul of our Groot is his spell casting ability. So let's look up some of the spells that he might have as a druid. So going from cantrips, he obviously has a little bit of a druid craft, if only for the aspect of you instantly make a flower blossom, a seed pod open, or a leaf bud bloom.
And he does all of those things for
Yeah,
the little children of nowhere.
yeah, the little girl on nowhere.
Get out of here.
This the next ability, it's a weird one, and I don't see it used that often, but I like the name.
Is it because it's a WWE weapon?
It's a shillelagh. All right, so hear me out. Hear me out. This is all right. A wood of the wood of a club or quarterstaff you are holding is imbued with nature's power. For the duration, you can use your spellcasting ability instead of strength for the attack and damage rolls of melee attacks using that weapon, and the weapon's damage die becomes a D8. Now, all right, hear me out. This is a stretch, but I think when Adolescent Groot helps make Stormbreaker with his arm, that is an example of shillelagh, even though it's not. It is not a quarterstaff or a club.
I would say his arm's a club. I mean, as a player, I like the idea, and I hope my DM would allow it.
Yeah, this is where the rule of cool comes in. It's like normally the rules don't account for this, but this I have to admire the creativity. I will allow it. Yes. So that's where I am with Shillelagh. So yeah, if you wanna fight me on this, please go on ahead. I have a very this is a very temperamental ground we're on.
Uh, well, I'm gonna follow up with our last cantrip, and it's not controversial at all. It's gonna be Thorn Whip. It's uh, it's an instantaneous spell. You create a long vine-like whip covered in thorns that lashes out at your command toward a creature in range. Make a melee attack spell against the target. If the attack hits, the creature takes 1d6 piercing damage, and if the creature is large or smaller, you can pull the creature up to 10 feet closer to you.
Now, I would say this is his signature spell that he uses. Like I don't think it matters which version of Groot he is. It's like it could be, Volume 1 Groot. It could be Baby Groot or the Groot from the Avengers movies. He does this in all those movies. So, yeah, this was a no-brainer. He definitely has Thorn Whip.
Yeah. And when he's at his best, he could pierce multiple targets at the
Yeah.
same time. And it's like, yeah, the rule of cool, I would allow it.
And he does it with a smile.
He's like proud to show it off. He's like, hey guys, look, I just cleared everything.
Uh, All right.
Love you.
Next one is, and some people don't expect this, Cure Wounds. A
Yeah.
creature you touch regains a number of hit points equal to 1d8 plus your spell casting ability modifier. The spell has no effect on undead or constructs. Now, he would have used this, at least Groot, version 1, in the original Guardians of the Galaxy,
Hmm?
when he is helping resurrect Drax after he's being drowned by Ronan.
And some would argue Drax is at 1 HP, but
One,
still,
maybe unconscious. It's like
he's unconscious.
He's unconscious at least, yes. So there you go. That's your cure wounds right there.
Yeah. And every team needs a healer, and it's like, yeah. So now on to the level 2 spells. For me, this one is like for is one of my favorite to see visually, and it's Bark Skin. You touch a willing creature until the spell ends. The target's skin has a rough bark-like appearance, and the target's AC can't be less than 16, regardless of what kind of armor it's wearing. And yeah, he I think he needs to do this right before he partners up with the Ravengers to go into Ronin's ship.
Yeah, during the montage, I see it where he's just he
Yeah.
just kind of like hulks out there a little bit. I get that. Next one up is a continual flame.
Yeah, we agonized over this one.
Yes. A flame, equivalent in brightness to a torch, springs forth from an object that you touch. The effect looks like a regular flame, but it creates no heat and doesn't use oxygen. A continual flame can be covered or hidden, but not smothered or quenched.
Yeah, and he does this a bunch. Right when they first enter Ronin's ship, he does the thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like Drax says, "Oh, I can't see anything," and
Yeah.
then he does it. But yes, there is a better spell out there, like Dancing Lights, where you create up to 4 torch-sized lights within range, making them appear as torches, lanterns, or glowing orbs, which would work perfectly. But unfortunately, that is not a druid spell.
Yeah, it'd be Rocket for Artificer, it'd be Peter as a Bard, or a Sorcerer or Wizard, who we don't really have in the
Yeah.
as a Guardian of the Galaxy. So it's like, yeah, we have other spells out there, but just doesn't fit.
Yeah. Another spell that we have on our list is Grasping Vine. You conjure a vine that sprouts from the ground in an unoccupied space of your choice that you can see within range. When you cast the spell, you can direct the vine to lash out at a creature within 30 feet of it that you can see.
And obviously he's doing this in in Wakanda.
Yes,
Think
in
of the
Wakanda
Contra.
versus Thanos.
Yeah, during the whole. That's not like we have to protect Vision fight. There we go.
Yes.
And it's great. He I think he does it in the Endgame fight, but I don't know. You
See
don't
it.
really see him.
There's a lot going on in Endgame, but I know definitely he uses it against Thanos in Infinity War.
Another skill that just helps him with his defense is going to be Stone Skin. This spell turns the flesh of a willing creature you touch as hard as stone. Until the spell ends, the target has resistance to non-magical bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing damage.
Yes, already very, very helpful, and he's already kind of tankish. It's
Yeah.
like, all right.
And now he's just like, ha, I
Yeah.
now, is it half damage or is it disadvantage? I forget for
Yes.
resistance.
Now this is a higher level spell that
the next
he may have, but regenerate. And I would say that he has regenerate just for the fact that let me just read it out. You touch a creature and stimulate its natural healing ability. I'm going to skip ahead a little bit, but the target's severed body members, fingers, legs, tails, and so on, if any, are restored after 2 minutes. And he definitely does that on himself. Now, this is an odd one because it's such a high level spell, and our Groot, no, I don't think he actually gets that far. I think regeneration might be just something that his race can do, but unfortunately, a Goliath does not regenerate limbs. So that's where we have an impasse.
Yeah, it's like we clearly see he does it, but for D&D, and we went through the entire like a, I wouldn't say the entire spell list, but we went through a good majority of the Druid spell list through all the books, and all the spells we're reading are from the player's handbook. But I checked a lot of sources, and there weren't really other good ways to explain how he gets his arm back.
No, it's a tough one.
So,
All right. So yes, going back to level 2 druids. Uh, Technically, level 2 druids have a wild shape. You can use your action to magically assume the shape of a beast that you have seen before. You can use this feature twice. You regain expended uses when you finish a short or long rest.
yeah, and that's awesome for druids, where it's like you're a snake and and
But
there's a bunch of other ones you could be, but not once does Groot become anything other than more wood.
yeah. Yes. Yes. Yeah, so not really applicable, honestly. If
Yeah.
if you're gonna really, RP Groot there, I don't
It's
see
a
it.
wasted what is that, level up skill.
Yeah, I know. If you really want to stay hard and fast towards Groot, like no, you can't really use Wild Shape.
Yeah, if
Um,
you min max, it's like one of those. You're really just RPing this build.
yes. Uh, you know what? Druids are really interesting because at second level, not third level, they get to choose their subclass, their Druid Circle, and the circle that we found that is closest to Groot, but I wouldn't say nails him dead on, was the circle of spores.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. They it's something where they see within mold and other fungi the ability to transform lifeless material into abundant, albeit somewhat strange life, and it's like, you know what? It may work, it may not work, but it's just the best we got. We were really looking into the circle spells, and this is the best circle we got.
Yeah, and this comes from the Guild's Master Guide, Tasha's Guide to Everything, and the Guild's Master Guide to Ravnica.
Yes.
And it's like we looked at other ones like Circle of the Moon. It's the next best one, but there wasn't really anything where it's a direct connection to plant life,
Yes.
which is why fungi is the next best thing.
Yeah, but yeah, you get some cool spells. You get blindness and deafness, gentle repose, animate dead, gaseous form. Most of these things not really applicable to Groot, but if you did Circle of Spores, yes, you would have that. Um, Now talking about some of the feats.
Yeah, because it's like at fourth level, and I think every four after that, you get to choose a feat, or you
Yeah,
upgrade your ability score. And for feats, there's a bunch that jump out to me.
yeah,
One is going to be Savage Attacker. Once per turn, when you roll damage for a melee attack, you can reroll the damage weapon dice and use either total. And it's like, yeah, just more damage.
more damage. That's great. A really cool one is a Tavern Brawler, accustomed to the rough and tumble fighting, using whatever weapons happen to be at hand. You gain the following benefits: you increase your strength or constitution by 1. You are proficient in improvised weapons. Your unarmed strike uses a d4 for damage. When you hit a creature with an unarmed strike or an improvised weapon on your turn, you can use a bonus action to attempt to grapple the target, which sounds really cool. And like Groot would have this, yes. Like all his weapons are improvised weapons. because he just makes them.
And the Guardians of the Galaxy fighting in a bar. That's like once a week for them.
Yeah. And finally, for feats that we're really thinking about is a tough. Your hit point maximum increases by an amount equal to twice your level when you gain this feat. Whenever you gain a level thereafter, your hit point maximum increases by an additional 2 hit points.
Tank gets tankier. Love it.
Yeah, yeah. But problem is, a druid doesn't have a lot of hit points. You know, they have a hit dice of a 1d8, which is stunningly mediocre, if not a little poor.
Yeah, you want at least a 1d10, or if you're or the character we're choosing, it's a 1d12.
1d12. So this is where
we think that we both agree that this is where Groot's a multiclasser.
Yeah, I mean, you know, Groot is a brawler, obviously. He likes to get into the action.
Yeah.
But a druid alone's not going to do it.
No.
This is where I would say that he is also a barbarian.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, you get the hit points, you get the damage, and something that I think every Guardian of the Galaxy does is you get the rage.
Get the rage. He gets to hear the lamentation of the women. So we already discussed barbarians with Drax, who's a straight up barbarian.
Yeah.
But yeah, you get a 1d12 for your hit dice. You have again you have the rage. In battle, you fight with primal ferocity. On your turn, you can enter a rage as a bonus action, and you have advantage on strength checks and strength saving throws. When you make a melee attack using strength, you gain bonus damage to the damage roll that increases as you gain levels as a barbarian. And you have resistance to bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing damage.
So he doesn't even have to cast Tough Skin anymore.
Yeah, that's
yeah, it's just saves a spell slot.
Yeah, absolutely. Also, as a barbarian, you get unarmored defense. While you are not wearing any armor, your armor class equals 10, plus your dex modifier, plus your constitution modifier.
And we already talked about how the dex is at least a 10, so he's not being hurt by this. And his constitution, I make the argument it's his highest stat. So it's like bada bing.
Yeah.
And he can still use a shield and gain the benefit from an armor defense. So this just screams Groot to us in the battle scenes.
Yeah, everything but dex, which is relatively low, but maybe his dex is okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it's at a 0 personally.
Yeah.
But
But yeah, going through his list, he also has a reckless attack. Starting at 2nd level, you can throw aside all concern for defense to attack with fierce desperation. When you make your first attack on your turn, you can decide to attack recklessly. Doing so gives you advantage on melee weapon attack rolls using strength during this turn, but attack rolls against you have advantage until your next turn. And
clearly you see him just take a crap ton of damage every time he's attacking because they're all hitting his arm.
Yeah.
Which is a thorn whip.
Yeah, if anyone the two characters in the Guardians of the Galaxy that you see yelling and running at people, just ready to fight, it's going to be Groot and it's going to be Drax.
Yeah.
Even baby Groot does it.
Yeah.
It's
when he rerolls.
Yeah, so for a primal path, we went pretty simple on this, since we made Drax a totem warrior, if I'm correct. I think this Groot wants to think simple. Not my favorite subclass, but I would go with the Berserker.
And maybe not your favorite subclass, but it's the most direct when it comes to combat. Because for some barbarians, rage is a mean to an end. That end being violence. The path of the Berserker is a path of untrammeled fury, slick with blood. As you enter the Berserker's rage, you thrill in the chaos of battle, heedless of your own health or well being. And there are just some guys you just want to mix it up. And if you want to play as Groot, uh, baby, adolescent, or the big guy, it's like, yeah, scream into battle with your flailing wooden arms. uh,
Yep. But one of the things that a berserker has is a frenzy. When you choose this path at third level, you can go into a frenzy when you rage. If you do so for the duration of your rage, you can make a single melee weapon attack as a bonus action on each of your turns after this one. When your rage ends, you suffer one level of exhaustion.
yeah,
So, you get some more damage there, potentially. Um, my problem is that you get the exhaustion, but that's negligible if you want to, if you just want to take a rest here and there, like
yeah,
end that exhaustion. So, I mean, that's really up to the player.
yeah. One that I think is super important that Groot from Volume 1 has is definitely going to be intimidating presence.
Yes.
Beginning at 10th level, you can use your action to frighten someone with your menacing presence. When you do so, you choose one creature that you can see within 30 feet of you. If the creature can see or hear you, it must exceed a wisdom saving throw. And there's a formula for that in the book. Or be frightened until the end of your next turn. On subsequent turns, you can use your action to extend the duration of this effect on the frightened creature until the end of your next turn. This effect ends if the creature ends its turn out of line of sight or more than 60 feet away from you. And we see it uh, first when they enter the prison for the first time as a group.
Mhm.
And yeah, and Rocket's doing his little speech, and it's really all about Groot just being a giant and 9 feet
Yeah,
tall.
he sticks it up the guy's nose. Who I learned is played by Nathan Fillion. That's Captain Mal from Firefly. A little bit of trivia for you there.
Nice.
Yeah, so that's how Nathan Fillion. He's a frequent collaborator with James Gunn. So that's good to have him with a cameo. But yeah, going back to a berserker, you get a whole bunch of things. It doesn't really stop. At fifth level, you can attack twice. At fifth level, your speed increases by 10 if you weren't wearing heavy armor.
Oh, that's fast movement.
Yep. Um, by seventh level, your instincts are so honed that you have advantage on initiative rolls. And it goes on and on. We could go on, but if you go down the line with a berserker, that's really cool.
Yeah. And one that I think is kind of funny is is gonna be a relentless rage. Starting at 11th level, your rage can keep you fighting despite grievous wounds. If you drop to 0 hit points while you're raging and you don't die outright, you can make a DC 10 Constitution saving throw. If you succeed, drop to 1 hit point instead. And it's like, yeah, Groot, well, he kind of dies or almost dies, and it's like,
That's relentless rage sounds like something John Wick has, where it's like,
yes.
yeah, that totally sounds like a John Wick thing, where it's like, I'm just so angry I can't die.
Yeah. Yeah. I would like to do this with John Wick once.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a video idea. If you like it, tell us.
Yeah. Tell us below. Yeah.
You know what? If you're listening to this right now, like and subscribe. If
Yeah.
you're not,
Yeah. We'll do a thing. There we go.
boom.
But yeah, that's Groot for you. This is a really hard video to research just because he is so many things, and we're thinking, wow, he's obviously a druid, but I'm like, no, it's not as simple as that, and
Yeah. And that's because he attacks a lot more than being a druid. And it's because of the unarmored strike that it's like, maybe we found something with this barbarian.
yeah. I would say he's more barbarian than druid, and that his abilities, his spellcasting really do stem from his race. But unfortunately, we could only stick to Goliath, so that's we had no choice but to multi-class.
Yeah. Uh, yeah, we went through all their books and we tried to find something that best matched, and it's like it makes me feel bad because with min maxing, it's like we're being inefficient with our
Yes,
level two
well,
slots.
this is inefficient. Perhaps we can be a barbarian, and maybe there's a subclass where he does cast things, but it's like, no, it doesn't have the same feel. No.
Yeah, it's the connection to the Earth that really makes him be a druid, and you
Yeah.
need that.
Yeah, he needs that connection.
All right.
Yeah.
I I I just see him fighting in a lot of different places, and it's always like he's always angry, but he's always using his vines, and it's like there was no other way but to multi-class it. I don't know. If you have a better idea, let us know in the comments because we racked our brains.
Absolutely. Well, thank you very much for watching. I
hope we didn't waste your time.